the No Fade channel. Checking in. Jonathan here with a sand weighted vest that may actually prove me wrong, because for years I've been saying don't bother, don't buy them, don't fall for the low prices. And that's where they get you. You look at a plate carrier, you look at a Tech 511, you look at North Gym, the Strata from Rep Fitness, and the prices are high. And you're just like, I want to get a weighted vest to use once a month, maybe even once a year, but I'd like to have one. So you kind of go towards those sand vests because that price point is so low. So where is my angst and animosity coming from when it comes to these sand weighted vests, besides the fact that they have low prices that pull you in? Number one is that they are filled with sand. And over time, as you take your vest off and dump it on the floor, those sand pouches are going to leak. And if you own it for long enough and you use it for long enough, you're gonna have sand eventually kind of spilling out everywhere. The other issue is that they tend to be bulky. So once you get them on, they have a lot of bulk, both front and back. And if you're walking, that's not necessarily a massively big deal. But if you're doing push-ups, pull-ups, it can get in your way and limit your range of motion. What's different about the Sportner than most of the other ones on Amazon is that you get a zipper in the front, so you don't have to actually put this over the top of your head, and you get Velcro straps on the sides to cinch it tight. So the other issue with these sand vests is that they are wide, and if you're doing a lot of motions, you end up chafing your inner arm, right? Not that big of a deal, but if you're gonna do like 50 or 60 push-ups with this thing, having that motion, or if you're shadow boxing, can chafe the arm. Most, not all, but most of the sand vests come loose. As soon as you start wearing them, you get them tight to begin with, and then boom, they loosen up. And I will say one of the nice things about this Sportner weighted vest, which is different, is you get the double Velcro in the front, and that keeps things nice and cinched. You can adjust it at the shoulders as well to kind of lock it in, and that's something that a lot of the even cheaper sand vests don't have as an option. Now, as a reference, the one I have here on is 12 pounds, and it uses these individualized packets. The nice thing about having packets is that if you have a 12-pound vest and you're feeling like you want a light day, you could take a few of these out, and of course, you can adjust it a lot more than you can a plate carrier. But this packet, as you can see, maybe even here, is filled with sand. Now, many of you are absolutely monsters. You're looking for grayback gorillas to take on single-handedly. You always message me in the comments, how heavy can that plate carrier go? Because, 20 pounds of extra weight just simply isn't enough. You monsters, you demons want to go 40, 100 pounds. So Sportner sent me their 40-pound version. And yes, I do remember what 40 pounds feels like. It is soul crushing. 40 pounds, exceptionally heavy. Now, one of the differences with this one versus the previous one I showed you is that the pouches they've got like a different type of sand in them. You can almost see it's solid. It is super durable, and it's not as porous as regular sand. So you're not gonna have as much of a movement, and you're not gonna have the ability that it's going to spill out. Now, obviously, you start slamming these things down, then maybe the seals will actually break, but overall, you're gonna have a much better experience long term. Now, even though I like to badmouth these type of vests, I do have to tell it like it is. And one of the nice things about this 40-pound version is that if you have the ability to go 40 pounds, great, but maybe you want a 30-pound day or a 24-pound day, you can pull these out and you can adjust it so that it can get lighter or heavier. If you have a plate carrier, you just have usually one weight, 20 pounds. Now, if you have a 40-pound plate carrier, you might have a couple different weights that you could change out, but even then, you've got like 40 or 20. You don't have a lot of the incremental options that you would with this. Now, in similar style fashion, you get a zipper in the front, and you get Velcros around the side. So it does make, at least initially, for a pretty snug fit and feel. Now, you can dial it in even further with these extra side straps down here, and you can adjust it at the shoulders as well. So you can get a really nice snug fit, and if it loosens up while you're running or while you're sweating, you can readjust pretty quickly. Now, one of the problems that I found using this thing for like a week or two, just kind of putting it through its paces, is that when you take this thing off and you loosen up the sides here, if you're not careful, what happens is they're gonna just come right out of that, okay? And you've got to actually re-loop it in. And it's a bit of a nuisance. And I've tried to be super careful, and most of the times it still just comes out naturally in terms of the takeoff process. And that is super annoying. And of course, when we're working out, we don't want to have to spend time setting up our gear. We kind of want to just hit it and quit it. Another problem I have with this style of weighted vest is that most people, when they're first getting into fitness or even building out a home gym, they don't know what's out there, okay? They haven't explored their options. They just know what comes up in a Google search. And when you've got a low barrier of entry, it's pretty easy to set up a whole bunch of SEO so that when people Google search like weighted vest, this one pops up, or you go on Amazon, this one is sponsored. People will buy what they see right in front of them, especially if it has a low price tag. And then they use it and they realize, hey, it's just not right. It just feels off. And then what's worse, they stop using it. It's just collecting dust. And ultimately, they then go out and buy the one they probably should have the first time out. And I want to know from you, comment down below, what was your first weight vest plate carrier, and did you make the right decision? If you could do it all over again, which one would you buy as of today? Now, I do get that many of us are on a budget. We're not all living that life of luxury like so many of your favorite fit influencers are, just doling out whatever they want for whatever equipment that comes out, especially if it's the new. I will say that if you are on a budget, I do think these have their place, especially if you want it for something like jogging lightly or pull-ups and push-ups. Yeah, it's nice to just throw on and go after it. Now, people who have been subscribed for 4 or more years will already know what I'm going to tell you in terms of the best budget weighted vest out there. And if you're not subscribed, click down below, subscribe, and check out the affiliate links while you're at it to keep this channel soaring on. But I will tell you the cheapest way is to go out and buy airsoft vests. They come in on Amazon at like $25 to $35 depending on the time of the year. And then you just put in 2 10-pound weights, one in the front, one in the back, and they're gonna fit fine. It's gonna work well. And for that price tag of under $60, yeah, it's gonna be a dream come true. And now it's time. It is time for my final thoughts when it comes to sand-filled weighted vests. And have I changed my stripes? Have I changed my mind when it comes to these things? And the answer is no, but I kind of have a slightly different aggression towards them. When it comes to this Sportner 12-pound vest, I don't really love it. Reason being, it does have sand in here, and over time, dropping these things and putting them down hard, that sand will eventually start to leak. And if you want to own this thing for like 5 or 10 years, it's just not going to last that long. Also, you do get a much nicer fit and feel than most of the smaller, lighter sand vests that these come with, and because of the Velcro system and because of this front zipper. But at the end of the day, I still wouldn't bother with that one. I think more so I appreciated the 40-pound bad boy because these little sacks here actually don't have sand. They've got some like super hard sand, so it's not as granular, and it's not going to leak as much. Also, I do recognize the reality that some of you are gorilla fighting maniacs. You want a 40-pound vest. And if you go out and get a plate carrier and try to get a 40-pound vest, you're probably looking at $300 because the plates are so expensive. And on top of that, you really are limited in the weight that you can change up. So if you've got a 40-pound vest, you might be able to get like a 40-pound vest as well as a 20-pound vest, but you're not going to be able to get like a 17.5-pound vest. You can't really dial in the weight resistance a lot. With these, you absolutely can. You can take like one out of the front, one out of the back, and boom, you're off to the races. As far as the fit and feel with this, it was pretty good. The zipper in the front does give you a nice way to connect it, and then the Velcro around the waist cinches it all tight. Is this premium? Is this ideal? And the answer is no. The real selling point on this is the price point, and it comes in at a really good price for everything that it's delivering. And many of us don't need a plate carrier. We're not going to the range. We're not trying to be some CrossFit High Rocks monster. And frankly, we're not that guy. We're not going to put ballistics plates in there. We just want something to throw on, do some pull-ups, do some push-ups, maybe sprint up and down a hill and call it a day. And I do think this would work for a lot of you because you're not going to be using your weighted vest every day. You're probably going to use it maybe once a month, once every 2 months. You dust it off, do something with it, you feel good, you put it back to collect dust for the next 2 months. I think this is going to be in line with some people, especially their budgets, and especially because it goes heavy, but you can reduce the weight. I can't tell you how many comments I got when I do plate carrier videos asking, will it handle 60 pounds, 100 pounds, 40 pounds? And it's like, I don't know who's lifting that weight. That's crazy. When I put this thing on at 40 pounds, I feel like I'm being pushed to the ground. It is absolutely brutal. These things are heavy. But overall, I think this company, Sportner, did a good job with the 40-pound version to separate itself from a lot of the generic junk sand stuff that's out there, that's on Amazon, that people get thinking it's a great price, but in reality, you don't get a nice fit, you don't get a nice feel. The sand tends to leak after a few months of just nonchalantly dropping this to the ground, and ultimately it ends up getting tossed. Now, if you are the person that's going to use a weighted vest day in, day out, you know already that once a week you're breaking out a weighted vest for some type of workout. Don't get this one. It's not that it's not good. It's not that I wouldn't recommend it. It's the reality is most people who get this style of weighted vest end up upgrading to a premium plate carrier for a better fit, a better feel, and a more comfortable positioning, not only on the body, but around the shoulders. And that's ultimately what happens. They buy one, they use it, they realize they should have gotten the nicer one, and they try to sell it, but end up having to give it away or give it to charity. So if you are that type of person who's like, I'm gonna use this twice a week, once a week minimum, then definitely get yourself a nice plate carrier, spend the extra money up front, and you will own it for the rest of your God-given life. But if you are on a budget and you're just looking to clang and bang and not have to break the bank, boom, Sportner, link in the description. If you think I'm done telling it like it is, you haven't seen nothing. Check out these 2 videos. Use the links in the description, give the video a like, and as usual, don't save anything for the trip back.